Travis Wayne Goodsell. I was on my way to bed when I got the idea to do a video and then remembered that the video was something I already came up with. I published it in a book called Stake Temple Center Complex Proposal with Temple and Storehouse. It's not showing the date of when I published this anymore. I'm a little concerned because it didn't pop up when I typed in Travis Wayne Goodsell Stake Temple. And so clearly I'm being censored on Amazon now. It may be because I haven't published in a while, and that the last time I published has also been a while since I last published. So I'm getting booted down Amazon's analytical program, but I shouldn't be seeing anything but my name pop up if I type in my name. So that's disturbing. Anyway, in this little booklet that was at least 24 pages, and they're forcing me to sell it at $6, but the Kindle is still at $1. The only other problem is that delivery September 5th or 6th if you're a Prime member. So I'm not happy about that. But what I go over is what I gave to Bishop Hammond back in 2017. And so I know that this was back in 2017. It's just not giving the month that I came up with it. And he said, no, I'm not going to pass it up the chain of command. The brethren of the church know how to run the church. Yeah, that's what my video was all about, is how well they run the church during a pandemic. The Stake Temple was designed to have the stake centers become more independent from the leadership of the church. Now, if you're paranoid and are like terrified, Travis, no, you can't do that. No, the church has already done that. So I'm not doing anything radically new. When they released the handbook, that was sealing the nail in the coffin. Previously, if you want to communicate with the apostles, you have to go through your stake president, and then he'll correct you and handle it himself and not allow it to go to the brethren anyway. And so only little kids and their colorful pictures of I love President Nelson are only allowed through to the prophets now. Everything else gets diverted from the mailroom directly back to your stake president, and then he's going to deal with you. And so that's why I went through my bishop to say, hey, I got this idea, why don't we run it up the chain of command? No, you have no authority to get revelation for the church, Travis. Well, I know how this church works. I know that it requires people to give input, you know, like women's voices that have been denied in the church. But, I knew he wasn't going to do it. But I nonetheless published it after his rejection. The way it's designed is that the stake centers now become a temple center complex. That's why I called it that way. And it becomes not just a stake district, but it becomes a temple district. The stake center becomes the temple. And so it's going to be redesigned to have a temple. Now, this was before I found out that the endowment was not made by Joseph Smith. So you have to understand it in that context. This was still when I was still thinking that the church was true, it's just people were not listening to God. Now I understand they're not listening to God because they're listening to someone else. And so the concept that I had was that it was going to be a central place for members of that stake. Utah was going to be the first test site because densely populated Mormon communities. And all genealogy work would have computer systems there, access to the church's online site, and people would be able to go do genealogy work and then do the temple ordinances for their family names that they might find while they're doing work that day there at the stake temple. And the gym would be converted into the iron rod leading up to the stage where the celestial room and the veil is for people, and there'd have to be protections to keep people from falling off, and you'd have to have handicap ramp, and that's what the iron rod would be on a ramp for those in wheelchairs as well as people ascending to the celestial kingdom in the symbolism. Yeah, I still had believed that the endowment ceremony was originally written by Joseph Smith, and that Brigham Young just added stuff to it, and that completely wrong. And so I would do an editing of the temple ceremony today. But as you notice from the title that I gave you, it's also going to be a storehouse. Currently, Utah has the most storehouses, but they're for multiple stakes, not just a single stake. This is one of the problems that we're witnessing with the failure of the church to have inspiration from Jesus to have them prepare for this occasion, which was prophesied in the scriptures. You know, Moses confronting Pharaoh, coronavirus, which results in Pharaoh saying, leave. And the Exodus occurs. And so Nelson failed because I, back in 2017, was getting revelation because Monson was not. And then Nelson was not. Now I would talk directly to Mormons. Have you paid attention to your Book of Mormon? Who are the ones that the Lord calls his prophets? Is it the people in position of authority like King Noah and his priests? Or is it those who have no administration authority, but who have listened to the voice of God and obeyed, and then put their lives at risk to try to warn their church members to be good people? And so, yes, the stake center, the stakes, would also be turned into a storehouse, including a farm, with a greenhouse farm, not just farm, open farmland. It would be enclosed in a greenhouse so that you can run it year-round. And that would take the field behind every stake and convert it into this greenhouse storehouse where food would be grown and then made available to the members in the ward. And you can implement the law of consecration, the economic law of consecration, not the loyalty oath, with the knife in your hand as you swear loyalty to the church rather than to God. And that would be the process, is that people who wanted to spend their lives at the temple would be allowed to do so. And they would be taken care of, because my economic system was such that it could handle that. Because you'd have not just a storehouse, but you would also have, what's it called? I got distribution center, Deseret Book, no. It's the stores that the church has all over the place. The discount stores. Can't think of the name, because I never go. LDS church discount stores. Bookstore. Seriously? Seriously? Come on! Not distribution center, not temple clothing, not food, not bookstores. Come on, guys. I can't believe I've forgotten the name of the stores. They're all over Utah. Anyway, and I can't believe Google is not allowing me to see it in a search engine. But what this would have done was made available to every single stake an opportunity to be fully stocked with clothing, furnishings, everything they need under the economic system that I had developed, and how it would be implemented in a stage level process, as well as this every stake being a greenhouse and storehouse with it, so that they can have fresh fruits and vegetables as well as processed foods as well. Although you may not want to have processing done and then just give Mormons recipes to do their own processing with the foods, and that might be better to risk or to eliminate potential contamination of the food, or minimize the contamination of food. But now we skip ahead 3 years later, and I was going to do the video, what would Utah news be different if Herbert and Nelson did the right thing from the beginning? If they were prepared, as I had gotten ideas and published the book about from the beginning. Herbert would have counseled with Nelson to help Utah, to set the example to all the world how it's supposed to be done, using the story of Moses confronting Pharaoh and the coronavirus, where Moses said, everybody, you need to stay home. And then Herbert would say, okay, we're ditching the economy, only the first responders are to be at their place of business, so doctors, nurses, and emergency crews at their office. Everybody else stay home until the virus passes over. And with with Trump, we would have been doing this a long time, but we would have been prepared. As Nelson discloses this stake temple proposal, rather than coming out and saying, oh, hey, here's handbook number 1, and you have to go through the stake president anyway to have him answer questions concerning doctrine, which are now in handbook 1 for you, because we're not taking any responsibility for administration anymore. And so, yeah, he would implement this proposal so that Herbert doesn't have to worry about the economy. He can shut everything down, and every stake district would be taken care of, Mormon and non-Mormon. And they could all be safe in that condition. The system would be that instead of having people go to the stake to pick up their stuff, there would be people online, and everybody would get a computer so that they can do this. That's one of the problems with school reopening, is they had to take kids back to school because otherwise they'd have to make sure that every kid received a computer system so that they can do schoolwork online. And so they didn't want to do that, so back to school you go. Get the virus. Strong survive. And so every family would have a computer system. They would also implement their own internet service for the state of Utah so that they could have communication with their stake temple complex center in order to get supplies ordered and then received by delivery that would be dropped off at people's doors, and then no contact at all. If you don't know, Salt Lake City's mayor put up an expanded Wi-Fi service in that region so that people don't have to financially suffer without internet service. And so it can be done. The church would disclose their finances in this process by informing the members that they're doing all these things, spending their trillions of dollars for the welfare of Zion, which is the members, and thus turn the stakes into independent units to take care of their area. And it could even be broken down with the wards, because why not use them? They're just going to be empty otherwise. And have the wards actually be the front line for the food distribution in the ward districts, and then the stakes be the backup for that. And then there would be a regional or an area, and then the state would be the main one. And the church would have already had all these built in place and food stored and stocked up. And so once the virus hit, because of course they're inspired by God, so they knew it was coming, and when it came, they would have been prepared, and Herbert would have given the order to lock down Utah, send everybody home except for the doctors and emergency crew, and we'd go from there, and we'd just ride it out, staying at home, staying safe, getting all that we need, sanitation, food, and still have internet access to communicate and find out what's going on in the world so that we can know when it's over. It'd be like a nuclear bunker, only we'd not have to go into a bunker. And everybody's needs would be taken care of throughout this whole time, which is now going on 6-7 months now. So it's February, so March, April, May, June, July, August, and we're going into September. So yeah, going on 7 months. And that was my vision back in 2017. I just got the idea, and presented it to Bishop Hammond. He said no, so I published it. And now Amazon is purposely throttling even me from finding it. I had to go to my author channel on Amazon and then scroll through all my books until this one finally came up. Unbelievable. So, yeah, wouldn't it have been nice if we had prophets who actually listened to the God they claimed to be working for? Wouldn't it be nice if we had a prophet and he didn't lie and deceive us too? Take on the Beach Boys. Travis Wayne Goodsell. Let's get right into it rather than small talk with you. 3rd Nephi, chapter 1, verse 17. And they begin to know that the Son of God must shortly appear. And 21. And it came to pass that also a new star did appear according to the word. Mormons pop quiz. In what year did Lehi see the sign? Did you know he saw the sign? It's right there in the beginning of the Book of Mormon, 1 Nephi, chapter 1. Okay, 7. And it came to pass he returned to his own house at Jerusalem. And he cast himself upon his bed, being overcome with the Spirit. And thus being overcome with the Spirit, he was carried away in a vision, even that he saw the heavens opened. And he thought he saw God sitting upon his throne, surrounded with numerous concourses of angels, in the attitude of singing and praising their God. Milky Way galaxy. Next to Ophiuchus, where Saturn was sitting. And it came to pass that he saw Jupiter descending out of the midst of Virgo, and he's giving birth. And he beheld that Zaman, Emmanuel, as Isaiah calls him. And he also saw 12 others, 12 stars, on the crown of Virgo, the stars in the firmament. What year do they tell us that he saw this sign occur? In the first year of the reign of King Zedekiah, who is the puppet king put on the throne of Jerusalem by Babylon. Now, let's go. If you don't understand the sign, Isaiah 7, Matthew, but you have to combine chapter 1 with the first part of 2, where Bethlehem, which is Spica in Virgo, and then chapter 24, the sign of the Son of Man. He messes it up. He considers the sign the birth. It's not the birth, it's the sign in the heavens, which means a date in the future. Because I just checked before this video, back in that time period, 597, 596, 598. There's some fun signs, but not this one as prophesied. There was no sign in Jerusalem described by all these guys on the first year of the reign of King Zedekiah on the throne of Babylon. By the throne of Babylon. By the Babylon on the throne of Jerusalem. Let's see. Jacob. Tribes. First Nephi. There we go. Interesting. There's First Nephi 21, tribes of Jacob. Jacob in Hebrew means usurper, because he usurped the birthright blessing from Esau in the story in the Torah. Alright. In 3rd Nephi chapter 7, we have now the secret combination, verse 9, which had brought so great iniquity upon the people, did gather themselves together, and did place at their head a man whom they did call Jacob. And they did call him their king. Therefore he became king over this wicked band. Remember, in the first year of the reign of King Zedekiah, a puppet king is placed on the throne of Jerusalem by Babylon. And here you have, right before the coming, you have this secret combination placing on the throne of the Nephites a puppet king, Jacob, the usurper. And the Nephites were divided into different tribal groups according to the cities, and thus you can say comparable to states. They were united in their hatred into the covenant to destroy the government. Let's go back to 3rd Nephi chapter 1. I forgot one important piece in here. Okay. Verse 9, yeah. It came to pass that there was a day set apart by the unbelievers, that all those who believed in the tradition should be put to death, except the sign should come to pass, which had been given by Samuel the prophet. The destruction was not on the sign on the first day of the reign of the puppet king. So, did I say John the Revelator also gave this sign? Revelation chapter 12. He gives a specific date. The Book of Mormon that I went over with you in 1 Nephi adds Saturn in Ophiuchus, an addition on that very date. I know this because I checked. I've got a stellarium. That's why I was able to check back in the day of Babylon putting the puppet king on the throne. The day of destruction was the year when Nephi and his brothers went to get the brass plates. The sign is for the middle of September to the middle of October. The sign has already occurred, guys. 23rd September 2017. Get your stellarium, check it for yourself. What happened that year, the first year, in America? The reign of the puppet king of Russia. The first year. Isaiah talks about conception and birth. Both signs. The conception would have been a pregnancy period which occurred during a supermoon after the 2016 presidential election, where the Russians put their puppet on the throne of America. What are we witnessing? A coronavirus. He was acquitted by the GOP Senate. He is unfettered. He is saying he will destroy the election. He will not allow it. He will do everything to stop it. He's been doing everything to stop it. People are doing what they can to try to stop him by going after the Postmaster General, for example. But they're still not stopping. There's still problems at the post office, despite him going to the hearing. I don't understand. Nothing is done by sending people to Congress. It doesn't stop anything. You have to have some kind of enforcement. They're just not doing it. But Thursday night, on the last day of the RNC convention, Trump made the announcement that he had it planned all along to get everyone in America infected with coronavirus. Everyone. He is weeding out the weak from the strong. He himself has been exposed, and yet he doesn't have it, except for that one confusing incident where he said he was positive, but then negative, which is why it was positive. That can only happen is if he has the vaccine. What are they all desperately fooling us with? That we're going to have a vaccine already created before the election. He wants everybody infected. He just announced it. There will be no vaccine. All those who have special privileges have been vaccinated with the vaccine that they are holding back after everybody gets infected. We are expecting, the health officials are expecting a cataclysm event, resurgence in the fall, right in time for the election. But this day to murder is also in Revelation chapter 12. The dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. Verse 4. Why? Why would they be looking for this child? Moses, as a baby, Pharaoh wants to kill all the babies. Herod wants to kill all the babies when the wise men say, hey, we saw the sign in Bethlehem. Where's the baby? And he says, oh, I want to know where this baby is so I can kill it. Karen, my second ex, talked with her the other day and brought to her attention LDS church history. And it's difficult to bring up church history with her and at the same time not mention that the Book of Mormon is plagiarized and encoded with a secret message so that we can understand that the Book of Mormon is trying to warn us of right now. Because she wants to understand why I would think that the inverted pentagram that Isaiah talks about and is plagiarized in the Book of Mormon is Lucifer's sign and not revelation from God. Tom, you dumbass. Spokesman for the church, and he, oh my God. But, and so in order to explain it to her that it came from the Illuminati on the 1st of May, 1776. Illuminati, light bearers, Lucifer, inverted pentagram. That became their symbol. Their secret sign. Yes, there have been other groups that have adopted that sign from Isaiah because the Latin Vulgate is the first to use it. Right after Constantine, well, not right after, several decades, but after Constantine, in that 300 year, near the end, almost to 400. That's when the Vulgate came out. And it refers to Venus. Now, Venus is the morning star. It's out right now. And it rises trying to get to be the noonday sun. It never makes it because the actual sun rises and outshines it so that it disappears. It is vanquished. Lucifer is vanquished by the sun. You see the religion in that. And the sun becomes the true King of Kings and great high priest, Melchizedek, Pharaoh, Amen, Emmanuel. And so when I try to tell her about Freemasonry, how the Scottish rites in America had been infiltrated by the Illuminati, and that the Smiths were York rites of the Knights Templar, the bloodline, the Holy Grail, bought America at Southern Illinois, where the 2 solar eclipses of the 3 days of darkness is to occur. They were going to have Zion, the New Jerusalem, built in Southern Illinois. Joseph Smith's July 19th, 1840. 39 was when he called the 12 with Brigham Young, the Judas. And so the Smiths knew about all this. That's why the Book of Mormon, buried deep in the mountainside. I screwed up that song massively. Buried treasure plates in a mountain region, which was hills. But hills in Hebrew are Har, Harmageddon, mountain of Megiddo. Har in Egyptian is Horus, the son of Osiris, the one who restores the kingdom. Armageddon is the latter-day war, with the battle of Horus. And so trying to tell the stories in the Book of Mormon to Karen, I can't tell her that it's plagiarized and it's a coded message. And I can tell she's starting to catch on and getting concerned. And she's getting stressed. And I realize, oh yeah, how do I explain the Book of Mormon in the context of LDS church history? To show her that the Book of Mormon is warning us right now. So the sign has already happened, but the first year of the reign of King Zedekiah is when it happened here in America. But yet there's something else going on before the second coming, which is actually the first coming of his son to restore the original. That's where Matthew messes up. He says that the sign was actually the birth, and then in 24, when Jesus fails to save the Jews during the Roman period, he then says, well, he's coming again, and there will be his sign again, the sign of the Son of Man. No, if his sign was his birth, and his birth already occurred, he's not coming again because there won't be the sign again. That sign is a once in an existence event. Like I said, it didn't happen in the first year of the reign of King Zedekiah. It didn't happen any time, plus or minus 10 years of 0 AD. It never happened before. It will never happen again. It happened 23rd September 2017, in the first year of the reign of Trump, King of America, put on the throne as a puppet for Russia, by Russia. And so, yes, the Scottish Rites, Brigham Young, Heber C. Kimball, and the Danites, of whom Joseph Smith had stopped from destroying America way back when. What are you doing? Come on. And so they found out it was him, as Heber C. Kimball's Wikipedia page under Masonry exposes for us. He outright lied. But in his lies, he reveals what he had done. And then when you realize that, you then learn that Heber C. Kimball took Hiram's wife and son, Joseph Fielding Smith. That is low. Because it was Heber and Brigham who gave the order to John Taylor and Willard Richards to have them murdered in Carthage jail. John Taylor wrestled my third great-grandfather's gun from Hiram, and it went off and shot him up in the jaw as he laid on the ground. Joseph had just shot at the mob coming up the stairs and chased them out. He had 3 balls in his gun that was given by the other guy. And then he heard the shot, saw his brother fall to the ground, saw John Taylor standing over him, and Joseph Smith faced inside the room. Boom, boom, boom. John Taylor scampered under the bed to hide. His watch was hit. Joseph then went into the room, didn't know that Willard Richards also had obtained a gun when he got the wine. And while mourning over his dead brother, Willard Richards came up from behind and shot him in the back. And then the Nauvoo Temple, designed by Brigham Young's brother-in-law, a Danite of the Scottish Rites Illuminati that were planning to destroy America, designed it with the inverted pentagram at the top, the sign of Lucifer below it, and then Joseph Smith as the sunstone, the sun to restore the kingdom, conquered by Lucifer, who had taken over the position of Messiah of the latter days. And there were two sunstones, one for Joseph, one for Hiram, two inverted pentagrams, one for Willard Richards, one for John Taylor, with the third, which was the stained glass window, inverted pentagram, framed for Brigham Young. And then the Jewish stars above the two inverted pentagrams. And they are to be the religion of Lucifer during the government of Lucifer, as they are destroying America, as Trump wants to get us all infected with the desolating scourge. Scourge, desolating. Section 45, verse 31. And there shall be men standing in that generation, that shall not pass until they shall see an overflowing scourge, for a desolating sickness shall cover the land. That could be the abomination of desolation. And this temple, which ye now see, shall be thrown down, that there shall not be left one stone upon another. There is no temple in Jerusalem. The Jews did not rebuild it. They still have the Muslim mosque sitting on the thing. It's not Jerusalem for Armageddon. It's the Mormon church and the temple with the inverted pentagram on the keystone of the doors of the Salt Lake Temple. The Seagull Gate, where it's the foundation on the keystone pointing to the state capitol. They control the government. And the love of men shall wax cold. And it shall come to pass that he that feareth me shall be looking forth for the great day of the Lord to come, even for the signs of the coming of the Son of Man. See, this is all in the latter days. The temple is not in Jerusalem. Sun shall be darkened, moon turned to blood. And then the sign. And so it's not the Jews that he's speaking of here. And all they that have laughed shall see their folly, in 49, and calamity shall cover the mocker. Who are they talking about here? Who is Joseph Smith talking about? They that have watched for iniquity shall be hewn down and cast into the fire. And the Jews, are we sure it's the Jews? Because they don't have a temple to be destroyed a third time. It's America where the signs have occurred. It's America where the puppet king was put on the throne of America. Are we sure? No, it's not the Jews. It's not the Catholics. They're in Italy. You know, the Vatican. It's Mormons, guys. The Mormons are the ones who are mocking. They are looking for someone else. They're looking, and I see it in my comments. You are not the prophet. You are not Samuel the Lamanite, Travis. You are not this. You are not that. Nelson is the president. Nelson will tell us what to do. Nelson will compel us in all things. Nelson is the one who has the mantle. Nelson, Nelson, Nelson. No. No, no. He is silent. Amos 3:7, he's required to tell you. Who's been telling you this whole time? In the Book of Mormon, is it the leaders of the church who warn the members? No. It is a member who is the only one listening to God, who stands up to his religion and says, stop it. You guys need to be good. Destruction is coming. Signs in the heaven. That's a pattern in the Book of Mormon. The leaders of the church in the Book of Mormon never. You do have Nephi, but he's not the leader. He is made the leader. He is made a prophet because the leader was bad. You see the pattern. And so, yes, Mormons are laughing, mocking, scorning, looking for iniquity, to trap people, to destroy. And then, when the Exodus occurs, the Mormons will look and see him and weep because of their iniquities, and lament because they have persecuted their king. It's the Jewish learning of the Jews, not the learning of the Constantine Christians. And Mormons just don't get it. And so again, I go over section 3. Mormons have polluted their inheritance here in Utah. And so God is saying, the redemption of Zion must needs come by power. It needs to be restored. Therefore, in 16, after Joseph has been murdered, failing to save the United States, although they did prolong it to this day, when he was to have the elders of Israel rescue the Constitution from the brink of destruction. The thread. Therefore, I will raise up a mortal man unto my people. Who would the Lord be talking to Joseph Smith about the Lord's people? Oh, the Catholics, I'm sure, right? It's Mormons. That's why it's not the Jews in 45. If it's the Mormon from among the Mormons, who shall lead them like as Moses led the children of Israel in the Exodus, then back in 45, it's not the Jews who see the man like Moses, who is one of them, whom they've laughed, scorned, mocked, tried to trap into crime and sin. they will weep and lament. Because Joseph Smith was trying to tell Mormons, our Christ is like the Jewish Christ, a mortal man. So I am concerned about Monday. We are now 32 minutes into this video, and nobody's listening. And so that concerns me, that I had to do all this building up to this warning, which may be the last warning, because I still have a lot of packing to do. Like I said, there is a day set aside to destroy the Mormon who is to lead the Mormons in an exodus. That day is Monday. According to the Book of Mormon, God will step in. The Book of Mormon pattern that I also talked with Karen in regards to how the Lord works in our lives started with getting the brass plates. Lehi has a dream. He is told in the dream, get the brass plates. He then passes the buck to his sons. You guys go get the brass plates. Nephi gives his famous scripture mastery quote, I will go and do the things which the Lord has commanded, because I know the Lord giveth no commandments unto the children of men, save he shall prepare a way for them to do. And then you get the song, I will go, I will do the things the Lord commands. And they demonstrate how they tried to figure out how to get it first. Draw lots, try to buy it with their wealth that was left behind in the house, the mansion. And Nephi said, no, we need to get it. You guys are scared. You're snowflakes. I'll go get it. I know random views will eventually get to this point in the video, I hope. I hope you appreciate the snowflake line. And so now he goes in, he follows the Lord as to where to go, the Spirit. Laban is provided for him. He is then able to dress and look like Laban, even though he's like a 10-year-old boy at the most. And fools Zoram, and Zoram gets the brass plates, and they go out of the city and accomplish the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Right before the destruction of Jerusalem and the destruction of the temple. But that's what happens, is that you do all that you can to make sure that what you're supposed to do is accomplished. And then, in the end, after you've done all you can and you still haven't gotten it, the Lord then steps in and helps you finish. And I explained to Karen how my life was like that. Everything in my life was done like that. I gave her examples. And this Monday is another one. I'm supposed to be evicted. There was an extension granted to Monday. They're trying to get rid of me without going to court, because they know they will lose if they take me to court. They don't have a case to justify. Their accusations are just that. They're accusations. They're not based on any documents or recordings or anything. I'm the one with the documents and the recordings and everything. That's why they don't want to have a court to get rid of me. But they want me gone. Just like the church wanted me gone in 2008. That was one of the examples that I gave to Karen. Was that the Lord wanted me out. He did not want me locked up like Joseph of Egypt with the storehouses. And like I told you guys in yesterday's video, I designed how we would have had things run under a coronavirus. Before the coronavirus struck, I presented it to my bishop. He said no. And so I've been reaching out to federal government officers. I've been reaching out for lawyers, trying to help prolong, trying to help prevent them from doing what they're wanting to do, which is to prevent me from doing what God wants me to do. Now, when you say things like that, people automatically are haters and religious bigots, as they say, oh, you've got a Messiah complex, oh, you've got this and that and the other, to justify punishing people. That's why they give the categorizations in psychiatry and in government and in religion, is so that they can justify punishing people for the categorizations that they have placed upon them. And so in religion, Mormons call those who leave anti-Mormon. They go to the extreme. Oh, you guys are enemies of the church, you're apostates, you're antichrists. Why? So that the Mormons can then justify them being good, for not being stupid, for sticking. Whereas those who left were smart. They figured it out. It's not Jesus' church if Jesus' church is doing crimes and sins and abuses and bullying, such as false labeling, so that people can justify their own existence. Triggering to destroy, as the other video I did. And so I was able to get through to the federal government. The Fair Housing Office is already investigating, but it takes time for them to investigate. I don't know why. I found through the Utah BBB, Better Business Bureau, that these guys forgot to relicense themselves. They're no longer listed because their license expired. Oops. This whole year, I've been paying rent to a fraudulent business. And they're trying to get rid of me without taking me to court. But I haven't been able to get a hold of the lawyer. They didn't reply. Called several different ones. Nothing. And so, Monday, I was thinking 9/11, thinking that I was going to be able to extend it. No. They refused to extend it. And the lawyer for the landlord, I've pointed out that he's going to deny me a court hearing. So I told him, I told you I want a court hearing. And so he won't talk about it, and he says, oh, okay, well then we're going to use the full fury according to Utah law. And so I responded, according to Utah law, you are required to give me a court hearing. And so I demand to know what you intend to do specifically, which is illegal and not according to law. He has not responded. Now it's the weekend. That's why I'm worried about Monday. Because like I told you guys, my whole life has followed the pattern of I do my part, the enemy tries to prevent me from finishing my part, then God miraculously sets things in motion and I'm able to accomplish things. It's weird. 6 years I was incarcerated, for example. God gave me revelation. Part of it was the stake center complexes that I talked about with the food storage for the coronavirus. Would have been all set up, ready to go. Had the bishop notified the church leaders, and the church leaders said, wow, this is a great idea, let's implement this. No. But yeah, I got all of that locked up. And so I'm thinking, I'm going to be locked up forever, God. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? This is torture. I'm never going to be able to do anything with this. Why are you giving me these ideas, these revelations as to how to run a whole organization? And of course I never get any answers. Time goes by and I'm locked up forever. And then comes the fateful day. The Attorney General left his post, and his choice also left his post, and then they were put on trial for corruption. They got away with it because they're in Mormon, Utah. As they are the Mormons themselves. Mormons protect their own. And but the new guy who took over knew nothing of my case. So that was the first thing. Then the psychiatrist was retired. He retired. Not really. He still had his own practice. So that's what he's doing full time and spending more time on his ranch. But he retired. Just said, I'm choosing now to retire from working in this incarceration place. And so a new psychiatrist comes in, assigns different drugs, because it's the drugs that stop the revelation. And so again, I was like, okay, I got ideas, and now they're just sitting as I'm going to spend the rest of my life in a vegetative state, stupor, like a zombie. Way to go. And then the retirements, the Attorney General's office, the psychiatrist doctor who does the human experimentations with drugs from Nazi Germany and 60s Russia, and then the evaluator. The evaluator had kept telling me over and over again, I'm never going to let you go. You could lie. He was supposed to ask questions. I was then supposed to give the answers. It's that simple. I knew the answers. It's that simple. If you've never gone through the court process, yeah, you don't know. Nobody knows. They keep it a secret. They don't tell you and teach you in school. And so the only people who know are those who go into the legal profession or those who get arrested. Those are the only ones who know about the system. And so when a person gets arrested for the first time, they're clueless. They don't know how it works. And so it's not appropriate to say, well, they don't know how our system works. They're mentally ill. So that's what they did to Abinadi. You're a terrorist and you're mad. You're mentally ill. How dare you speak out against us? That's what I had done. I had filed a petition for a redress of grievances, and I was turned around and arrested for it. It's illegal in the state of Utah to file a complaint in the courts. You have to have a lawyer do it for you. And the evaluator was refusing to let me go. He's the final guy. And then he just up and retires. He's not old. He's still young. Retires. He gets replaced. Brand new girl, fresh out of school. She reads me the questions. I give her the answers. She says, "You're competent." No duh. Everybody panics. Holy crap, Travis is not supposed to be competent. So they had the other evaluator evaluate me. They were going to destroy that brand new hire's life as it just barely began. And that's what the other evaluator knew. He had no choice now. He couldn't destroy my life by destroying hers. She was just doing her job. She didn't know that she wasn't supposed to let me go. And so yeah, the other evaluator said, "No, we're not going to do the questions and answers. I'm going to ask my own questions, and you're going to tell me straightforward." And he let me go. And the Attorney General dropped the charges. I'd already served 6 years without a trial. Never found guilty, and yet punished for 6 years of my life. And so here they try it again with my landlord. Didn't commit a crime. They're not taking me to court, but they want me punished by being evicted. They want me out of here so that they can cover up their crimes. Like I said, they're not licensed. They forgot last year. That's why I'm worried about Monday, guys. Monday. The question is, will it be in the morning? Afternoon? Or in the evening? I'm supposed to be gone by 4 p.m. So if it's the evening, things will be rushed. If it's the afternoon, it will give myself enough time to try to finish some last minute packing. Because if it's what I'm concerned of, I will need to acquire a U-Haul truck. And in my talking with Karen, you will understand, again, in connection with how God works, that is a very plausible scenario. But it could also be in the morning.